After years of trying, my husband and I were thrilled to be expecting, until his mother accused us of betraying her for not telling her first. She tried to take over the pregnancy, even naming the baby herself. We stayed quiet until she crashed my shower, caused a scene, and got arrested. I always imagined that when we finally got pregnant, the world would stop, in the best way possible. You know, that movie magic moment where the sky seems a little brighter, strangers smile at you in the street, and your heart floats like it just remembered how to dream again. After 2 years of trying, a failed round of IVF, and one soul-crushing miscarriage, that positive test hit me like sunlight after a storm. I'm 30. My husband David is 33. And after everything we went through together, the pokes, the prods, the endless calendar of fertility appointments, we were finally getting the chance to become parents. Our baby, our rainbow after the rain. I remember the morning I told him. It was early, not even 6 a.m. I was still in my pajamas, shaking like a leaf, holding that stick like it might vanish if I blinked too hard. I stood in the doorway while he shaved and I whispered, "David?" He turned, eyes still full of sleep. "Yeah, babe." I held it up, my voice barely a breath. "It's positive." There was this long, stunned silence. Then, God, Frankie, the way he grabbed me. Like I was air and he hadn't breathed in weeks. He cried. I cried. We laughed. We sank to the bathroom floor and just held each other while the rest of the world kept spinning outside. From that moment on, David was all in. He went to every appointment. He rubbed my back when morning sickness felt like dying. He talked to my belly every night, telling jokes or singing off-key lullabies. We read parenting books together and built IKEA furniture while arguing over crib placement like it was a NASA launch. We waited to tell anyone until after the 12-week mark. We wanted to be sure. We'd already had one loss, and we couldn't handle the weight of that happening again with everyone watching. So when that golden first trimester passed, we threw a little lunch. Nothing crazy, just close family and a few friends at our place on a Sunday. We didn't even do a big announcement. We just let them figure it out when I walked in wearing a shirt that said, "Eating for two," and David was beaming like he just won the lottery. The reactions were mostly what we'd hoped for. My mom cried. My sister screamed. His brother high-fived him like they were back in high school. There were hugs, congratulations, toast with sparkling apple cider. And then there was his mom, Barbara. At first, she just stood there, clutching her wine glass with a tight smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "You're pregnant?" she asked, even though the answer was obvious. I nodded. "We are. 14 weeks now." Barbara blinked. Her face went blank for a beat, then twisted. "And when were you planning to tell me?" "Today," David said. "That's why we invited everyone over." "But you knew for weeks," she snapped. "You knew, and you kept it from me." I opened my mouth, but she was already stepping back, shaking her head like we'd just personally betrayed her. "Everyone else finds out before me? Your own mother?" "Barbara, Mom, it's not like that," David said gently. "Then what is it like?" she demanded. "I'm the grandmother. I had a right to know." Frankie, I don't know how to describe the shift that happened in the room. 1 second, we were basking in this little cocoon of joy, and the next, the air turned heavy. It was like someone opened a door to a snowstorm and all the warmth got sucked out. Barbara wasn't yelling exactly, but her voice was sharp, angry, almost trembling. I tried to explain. "We were just being careful. We lost one last year, and we didn't want to get everyone's hopes up again until we were sure." "And I don't get to be part of that?" she cut in. "What, you think I couldn't handle bad news?" "No, it's not that at all." "Well, clearly it is, because here you are, throwing a party like everything's fine, and I'm the last to know. God forbid the mother of the father be kept in the loop." David stepped closer to her, calm but firm. "Mom, we didn't tell anyone until last week. You weren't singled out." But she wasn't listening. Her voice kept rising, emotion creeping in until her eyes glossed over. "You're always doing this," she said, looking straight at me now. "Keeping him from me, taking him away." "Okay, that's enough," David said, his tone sharp now. "You're not going to make this about her. This was our decision. You know what we've been through. We just wanted to enjoy this moment with you." She scoffed, turning toward the door like she couldn't bear to be in the room a second longer. "I can't believe this," she muttered. "What kind of woman keeps a baby secret from her husband's family?" That's when I stood up. My hands were trembling, but I kept my voice steady. "One who's trying to protect her heart. We didn't do this to hurt you, Barbara. We just needed a little time. That's all." She looked at me like I was a stain on her blouse. David moved between us. "Mom, maybe we should talk later. This isn't the time." Her eyes flicked to the crowd again, all the people now watching with silent, awkward expressions. "No," she said. "You don't get to silence me in front of your friends. You've made your choice. I hope she was worth it." Then she left. The door didn't slam, but it felt like it had. The party limped along after that, but the energy was gone. People made excuses, filtered out early. My mom stayed to help clean up. David just stood in the kitchen for a long time, staring at the sink like it held answers. "I'm sorry," he said finally. "I thought she'd be better." I wanted to cry, but I was too tired. I didn't expect confetti, but I didn't think she'd accuse me of stealing you either. "She's always been dramatic." "No," I said softly. "That was cruel." We didn't talk to her for a while after that. She didn't call, didn't text. David sent her a picture of the first sonogram, hoping it would warm her up. She didn't reply. Then 2 weeks later, she sent an email. Just a few lines. No apology. No acknowledgement of what had happened. Just, "I hope you've come to your senses. If you want me in my grandchild's life, I expect to be informed next time. I won't be disrespected like that again." David wanted to ignore it. I wanted to scream. Instead, we said nothing. We focused on the baby, on each other. But something had shifted. Some line had been crossed. The warm fantasy I'd been building about my child growing up surrounded by a big loving family, it was cracking. The worst part, David started to crack too. Not all at once. Just little things. He'd hesitate before texting her. He'd overthink every interaction, wondering if he should say something or let it go. I saw the guilt creeping in. Not because of us, because of her. And deep down, I knew she could feel it too. That her words, her silence, her righteous anger were working. 3 weeks later, we got another message. "I want to host the baby shower. I've already looked at venues. Let me know which date works." Like nothing had ever happened. David looked at me. "Should we let her?" I stared at the screen. My pulse was already spiking. "I don't want her near me right now," I said. "Not after what she said. Not until she apologizes." "I know," he said quietly. "But if we say no, it'll start again. She's not entitled to a party if she can't even respect the parents." He sighed, rubbing his temples. "I just want peace. I want respect." We didn't respond right away. We tried to talk it through. I asked my therapist. He asked his brother. Everyone said the same thing. Boundaries are important, but so is compromise. And I think that's when I started to feel it. This creeping dread in the pit of my stomach. That our child hadn't even been born yet, and we were already being tested, already being asked to choose between keeping the peace or protecting ourselves. Eventually, we said yes. I told myself it was for David, for the baby, for the illusion of family. But Frankie, I should have trusted my gut. Every bone in my body screamed, "Don't let her do this." But David, he was exhausted, tired of walking on eggshells, tired of playing referee between the two women he loved most. So when Barbara offered, insisted really, to host the baby shower, I let him talk me into it. "She's trying, babe," he told me, arms wrapped around my waist as we stood in the nursery we'd just started decorating. "Maybe this is her way of making amends." I didn't have the heart to say what I was really thinking. This isn't an apology, it's a performance. But I nodded. I wanted to believe him. I wanted peace too. I gave Barbara a short list of what we wanted. A garden brunch, neutral tones, simple games, and close friends and family only. I even sent her a Pinterest board. Soft sage greens, whites, maybe a sprinkle of gold. Elegant, intimate us. She replied with a thumbs up emoji and, "Sounds lovely, leave it to me." That was the last thing she ever listened to. 2 weeks later, I got an invite that made my jaw drop. "Welcome baby Barbara's grandson, a celebration of Gary's legacy." Frankie, I am not exaggerating. That was the actual title of the shower. Not a single mention of me, the mother. The invitation background was royal blue with gold lettering and included, get this, a full paragraph about David, his achievements, his childhood, even a baby photo of him watermarked behind the text like he was some celebrity unveiling his Hollywood star. I stared at it on my phone in silence for a long time. Then I showed it to David. "What the actual hell?" I asked. He blinked. "Okay, that's not what we talked about." "No," I said flatly, "it's not." He sighed. "Let me talk to her." I didn't ask what he said. I was too tired of caring. But Barbara responded with a chirpy voice memo. "Oh, sweetie, I just thought we could celebrate where the baby comes from. You can't have a tree without roots, right?" I didn't reply. The shower was scheduled for the following Sunday. I spent the whole week leading up to it, oscillating between trying to give her the benefit of the doubt and mentally rehearsing polite ways to say, "Please stop making my uterus about you." When we arrived at the venue, a community hall she'd rented without consulting us, I nearly turned around and left. Frankie, it was like walking into a shrine. Not to the baby, not to motherhood, to David. There were life-size cutouts of him as a child, teenager, and adult. A slideshow of his milestones was looping on a projector screen. First steps, kindergarten graduation, football photos, his college diploma, the table centerpieces, miniature trophies engraved with #1 son. I stood frozen at the entrance, mouth open. A huge banner hung over the main table. "A son like David deserves a legacy." "What is this?" I whispered. David's face went pale. "Oh my God!" We walked inside and people started clapping. Barbara swooped in like a pageant queen, air kissing me with a tight smile. "You made it," she chirped. "Everyone's so excited to see you, sweetheart." "Barbara," I said quietly, trying not to make a scene. "What is all this?" She blinked innocently. "Oh, just a little trip down memory lane. You know, so the baby knows where he comes from." "I'm still pregnant," I said, the bitterness slipping out. "He's not here yet. And you do remember we don't know the gender, right?" She waved a hand. "Oh, please, I know it's a boy. Call it a mother's instinct." I was about to reply when I caught sight of the cake. My stomach dropped. It was a 3-tiered monstrosity, blue and gold again, with the words, "Welcome, little Gary Jr. Your daddy's mini-me." I felt like I'd been slapped. "Are you kidding me?" I muttered, staring at the fondant figurine of David holding a baby. Barbara clapped her hands. "Adorable, right? Everyone's already calling him Gary Jr." "No one is calling him that," I said. David looked like he wanted to sink into the floor. "Mom, we haven't picked a name, and we're not naming him after me." Her face twitched. "Why not?" "It's tradition. It's your tradition," I said. "We're starting our own." That's when I saw it, something hard in her eyes. Cold, like she was calculating the next move in a game she didn't plan on losing. The rest of the party blurred together. She gave a toast that barely mentioned me, played a trivia game titled, "How Well Do You Know Gary?" instead of any baby-related game. She handed out party favors that said, "Built with love," and Gary's DNA. By the time the gift opening portion arrived, I was fighting back tears. Then Barbara walked up with a huge box wrapped in gold paper. "This," she announced, "is from me, and it's very special." I didn't want to open it. I knew whatever was inside wasn't going to be good, but everyone was watching, and I was too tired to argue. I unwrapped the box slowly. Inside was a custom baby blanket, with Gary Jr. embroidered across the front in cursive blue letters. The silence that followed was suffocating. David stepped forward. "Mom, we told you. That's not his name." Barbara smiled sweetly. "Oh, I know. I just thought once you saw it, it would feel right." "It doesn't," I said. My voice cracked. She tilted her head at me, with that smile still frozen in place. "You're just hormonal, honey. It'll grow on you." "Excuse me?" I blinked, stunned. "You wouldn't even have this baby without my son," she said. "You'd still be shooting yourself up with hormones and crying on the floor." My heart stopped. Gasps rippled through the room. I felt the heat rise in my face, my throat tightening. David's jaw clenched. "Barbara, stop." She stepped closer to me. "I've been patient. I've been supportive. And what do I get? Left out, disrespected, treated like a stranger in my own grandchild's life. I'm his grandmother. I named his father, and I will name him." "No, Barbara," I snapped. "You won't." Her eyes blazed. "I made Gary who he is. Without me, you wouldn't even be here." "Without you," I said coldly, "I'd be having a baby shower that wasn't a narcissistic tribute to your son." Her face turned red. "You ungrateful little—" David stepped between us. "That's enough. You need to leave." She blinked. "Excuse me?" "You heard me. This is over." She laughed bitterly. "Wow. You really let her get in your head, huh? She's my wife, Mom, and you've done nothing but disrespect her since the day we told you she was pregnant." The room was dead silent. Someone dropped a fork. A baby started crying somewhere in the back. Barbara looked around like she just realized how many eyes were on her. "I see what this is," she said, voice low. "You're choosing her over your own mother." "I'm choosing my family," he said, her mouth twisted. "You'll regret this." Then she turned on her heel and stormed out, slamming the door behind her. Nobody moved. Eventually, my sister-in-law walked over and put a hand on my shoulder. "You okay?" I nodded. I wasn't, but I nodded. We left 10 minutes later. In the car, I broke down. "I told you," I sobbed. "I told you she'd ruin it." David took my hand. "I'm sorry, I didn't think she'd go that far." "She tried to name our baby," I whispered. "I know, and it's not happening. None of this is happening again." We drove in silence after that, both of us raw and numb. I stared out the window and wondered how something meant to celebrate new life could feel so poisoned. By the time we pulled into the driveway, I'd made a decision. "She's not coming to the hospital," I said quietly. David looked at me. "I agree. No visits, no baby photos. Not until she apologizes. Really apologizes." He nodded. "She won't." "Then she's not part of this," I said. "Not anymore." He reached over and squeezed my hand. And for the first time since this nightmare started, I felt like we were finally on the same page. After the circus she turned the first shower into, I was done. I told David, flat out, no more. If she wants to knit a blanket or send a card, fine. But she's not coming near another event until she understands that she's not the main character in our lives. But chaos doesn't respect boundaries. Not when someone's determined to bulldoze right through them. Our friends, real friends, planned a second baby shower just 2 weeks after Barbara's mess. It was something quiet, small, and genuinely sweet. Just 20 people in our friend Jess's backyard. Soft music, pastel streamers, homemade cupcakes, and no giant cardboard cutouts of David's high school football trophies. It was the first time in weeks I felt like I could breathe, until she showed up. Barbara wasn't invited, we'd made that crystal clear. But halfway through brunch, while I was mid-conversation with one of my cousins about bassinets, I saw her out of the corner of my eye, striding up the driveway in a hot pink pantsuit and massive sunglasses, carrying a bottle of white wine like it was an Olympic torch. My heart dropped. David was inside helping Jess set up the game prizes. I locked eyes with my sister, who mouthed, "What the hell is she doing here?" Barbara didn't wait for permission. She blew right past the front gate, smiling at guests like she owned the place. "Hello, everyone," she sang. "You didn't really think I'd miss this, did you?" I stood up slowly. "Barbara, you need to leave." She laughed. "Oh, please, don't be dramatic." "I'm not joking," I said. "You weren't invited." She held up the wine bottle. "I brought Riesling, your favorite, remember?" "I can't drink, Barbara. I'm pregnant." She rolled her eyes. "It's the thought that counts. Where's my son?" "Inside," I said through gritted teeth. "And he doesn't know you're here." "Well, he will," she smirked, walking toward the sliding glass door. I moved to block her path. "Don't." Her smile cracked. That's when David came out, holding a small stack of gift bags. He froze when he saw her. "Mom, what are you doing?" She practically skipped toward him. "David, sweetheart, I thought I'd surprise you. You looked so upset after the last shower. I wanted to make it up to you." "This isn't your event," he said firmly. "You weren't invited for a reason." Her eyes darted between us. "I don't understand why you're shutting me out. I'm the grandmother." "And I'm the mother," I said. "You need to leave before this gets worse." The crowd was silent. Some guests looked away awkwardly. Others stared outright, like they couldn't believe this was happening. Barbara's face twisted. "Worse? I've done everything for this family. And what do I get? Banished?" "You've crossed too many lines," David said. "You made the last shower about yourself. You insulted my wife. You tried to name our baby. That's because no one else is stepping up to do what's right," she shouted suddenly. Her voice cracked, loud and raw. "You're both too blind to see it. This child belongs to me just as much as it belongs to you." Silence fell like a dropped plate. Then she added, "You wouldn't even be pregnant without my son? I gave him life. You're just borrowing him." Frankie, I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. I heard someone whisper, "Did she just say that?" And a few people started backing away. Then Barbara stormed toward the gift table. "I brought a present," she said, yanking the lid off a box. "Since I'm still family, even if you treat me like trash." Inside was another customized baby item, a bassinet pillow embroidered with property of Grandma Barbara. I snapped. "No," I said loud and sharp. "Get away from the gifts. You don't get to rewrite history with expensive embroidery." She threw the pillow to the ground. "You ungrateful little itch." Gasps rippled across the backyard. Someone dropped a glass. I stepped back instinctively, hand on my stomach. David stepped in front of me. "Mom, that's it. Go, now." She was shaking now, full body tremors, like a pot boiling over. And then, out of nowhere, she grabbed a stack of unopened gift boxes and hurled them to the ground. "You think I'm the villain? I'm the only one who cares about this family." Glass shattered. Wrapping paper flew. A ceramic baby mobile smashed into pieces against the stone patio. That's when Jess's husband, Rob, rushed over. "Ma'am, you need to leave, right now." She turned on him, snarling, "Don't you touch me." David pulled out his phone. "I'm calling the police." "You wouldn't dare," she screamed. He didn't hesitate. Dialed 911 right there in front of her. "Hello. Yes, we have an out-of-control woman trespassing and destroying property. She's verbally threatening guests and physically aggressive. We need someone dispatched immediately." Barbara froze for a moment, her face pale. Then she lunged for his phone. "Give me that," she shrieked. He stepped back. "Stay away from me." That's when she slapped him. Frankie, I've never heard a crowd go so quiet so fast. It wasn't a hard hit, but it was enough. Enough to cross a line that can't be uncrossed. Two guests stepped in to hold her back. Someone else ushered me to the far side of the yard. I was crying now. Quiet tears, my whole body shaking, hands cradling my bump like a shield. The cops arrived less than 5 minutes later. Barbara tried to act calm at first, but once they asked her to leave, she turned on them, called one of the officers a punk in polyester, screamed that this was her son's child and she had every right to be there. They asked her to step outside. She refused. Then they tried to escort her gently, and she shoved one of them. That was it. They cuffed her on the spot. I watched from a distance as they led her to the cruiser, still yelling, still cursing my name. "This isn't over," she shrieked. "You'll be sorry, both of you." The car pulled away, sirens off. Just silence and disbelief in its wake. The party was over, obviously. People trickled out quickly after that, offering awkward hugs and quiet words of support. My mom stayed behind to help clean up, but I couldn't bring myself to pick up a single piece of wrapping paper. I just sat in Jess's guest room, numb, staring at the floor. David came in after a while, sat beside me. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I know," I said. "It's not your fault, but it still hurts." He nodded. I didn't think she'd go that far." "You still love her," I said. His silence was the answer. We didn't talk about it again until the next day. The fallout was immediate. Barbara's arrest made the local police blotter. Some distant relatives started texting. "What happened? Did she really slap David? Is it true she got violent?" We didn't respond to most of them, but the video someone took, that spoke volumes. Multiple guests caught parts of the incident on their phones. One even had the full scene. Barbara's rant, the slap, the police arriving. It started making the rounds quietly among our friends. A few people reached out just to say, "We're with you." She crossed the line. It was the first time David really saw it, I think. Not just through my eyes or as a son defending his mother, but as a husband, as a soon-to-be father. We sat on the couch that evening and watched the video together. When it ended, David put his head in his hands. "I can't believe that's my mom." I didn't say anything. I just took his hand. He looked up at me. "She's not coming near our child. I don't care what she says. That's not the environment I want our baby in." That was the moment something inside me finally unclenched. Because I knew he wasn't torn anymore. He was choosing us. You know what surprised me the most, Frankie? The silence. After everything, Barbara's screaming, the shattered gifts, the police lights in the driveway, I expected the days that followed to be a minefield. Explosive phone calls, family drama, gossip, more apologies that weren't really apologies. But no, the phone didn't ring. No knocks at the door. Just silence. At first, I didn't know what to make of it. Part of me thought maybe she was planning her next attack. Maybe she'd show up again, crying and spinning the story into something where she was the victim. Or worse, maybe someone in David's family would try to guilt us into forgiving her. Tell us she was just emotional, that it's hard becoming a grandmother, that family forgives, but that never came. Instead, we were left with peace, and it felt strange, unfamiliar. Like our home had been holding its breath for months, and now finally it could exhale. David spent that first morning after the incident pacing our living room. I watched him from the couch, sipping my tea, swollen belly balanced between my hands like a small moon. "She really hit me," he said, more to himself than to me. "She did," I said softly. He turned to me. "She slapped her own son, over control, over you, over our baby. And she would have done worse if we let her," I said. "That's why she can't be in our lives right now." He nodded, rubbing his face. I keep asking myself what Dad would have said if he were still around. I looked up. "What do you think?" "He'd have told me not to let her get near you again." I smiled faintly. "Then listen to him." That afternoon, David sent a message to his entire family. No sugarcoating, no long explanations. "Hi everyone, I want to be clear moving forward. Until my mom seeks real help, like therapy, and can acknowledge the harm she's caused, she will not be part of our lives or our child's life. That's our boundary. If you love us, respect it. If you have questions, ask me directly. But we're done pretending everything is okay when it's not." He didn't read their replies for 2 days. When he finally did, he found something we hadn't expected. Support. His younger brother, Mark, wrote back immediately. "About time. I've seen how she treats you both." "Proud of you," a cousin added. We were all horrified at the shower. "You're doing the right thing." Even his aunt, Barbara's own sister, texted me privately. "I'm so sorry. She's always been like this, and no one ever held her accountable. I'm glad someone finally is." Frankie, I cried reading those messages. Not because they fixed anything, but because for the first time, we weren't alone. The days that followed were the kind I used to dream about when I couldn't sleep through the nausea. We finished the nursery, soft gray walls, cloud mobiles, a little bookshelf full of stories I couldn't wait to read aloud. David rubbed my feet every night. We talked about names again, real ones, not the ones embroidered on ego-driven pillows. We practiced swaddling a teddy bear until we couldn't stop laughing. I caught him once, just standing in the doorway of the baby's room, hand on the frame, looking overwhelmed. "You okay?" I asked. He nodded. I never imagined peace could feel so loud." "What do you mean?" "I don't feel torn anymore," he said. "For the first time in my life, I'm not trying to fix someone else. I'm just here, with you, with our baby, and it's enough." It was more than enough. Barbara didn't reach out. Not a call, not a card, not a whisper from a mutual friend. But we found out through the grapevine that she was telling people we overreacted, that we made a scene, that she was just trying to be involved. None of it mattered, because we had the truth, and we had video, and we had each other. One night, about 3 weeks before my due date, I woke up to find David sitting at the kitchen table, scrolling through old photos. I walked in quietly and sat beside him. He showed me a picture on his phone, him and his mom when he was 10, at a school play. "She used to be warm," he said. "Or maybe I just wanted to believe she was." "She might have been once," I offered gently. He nodded. "But I can't raise my kid hoping someone might change. I can't risk them feeling the way I did. Like love is something you earn by keeping quiet." I reached for his hand. "Then we won't." He squeezed it. We won't. Frankie, when our son came into the world, it wasn't with fanfare or drama, just soft cries and warm skin, and the overwhelming sense that nothing would ever be the same again. We named him Theo, not after anyone, just Theo. Pure, simple, his own name for his own life. When the nurse placed him in my arms, I looked at David and I saw it. Not fear, not guilt, just pride, peace, love. And later, when he cradled Theo against his chest and whispered, "You're safe," I knew we'd broken the cycle. In the weeks that followed, people brought food, offered help, sent sweet messages. My mom came over with soup and stayed just long enough to hold the baby and do the dishes. Jess left a bouquet and a note that said, "No chaos, only calm. You've earned this." We didn't send Barbara photos. We didn't invite her to meet Theo. And it wasn't out of spite. It was out of love. For ourselves, for our child, for the life we were building. Because sometimes healing isn't loud. Sometimes it's in the boundaries you set, the doors you don't open, the peace you choose, even when the world tells you to make room for more pain. Barbara may never change, but we have. And that's what matters now. If you made it this far, thanks for riding with me. If you love real, messy, emotional stories like this, go ahead and hit subscribe. There's always another confession waiting in the back seat.